For decades, zombies represented one of the most terrifying ideas in horror. A mysterious infection, a society collapsing overnight. The fear that anyone around you could become the thing trying to kill you. But somewhere along the way, zombies stopped being scary. They became background noise. The real villains weren't the undead anymore. They were other survivors. And strangely enough, the show responsible for changing zombies forever was also the greatest zombie show ever made, The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Welcome to Shake the Lore, where we question the popular opinions and the ideas everyone accepts without asking why. Because sometimes, the bigger picture can only be seen if you look from a different angle. And to understand how zombies became so different, we first need to look back at what they used to be. Before The Walking Dead, zombies were experimental. They were never just one thing. For decades, creators used zombies as a blank canvas, constantly reinventing what they could represent. Sometimes, they were pure horror, like Night of the Living Dead, where zombies represented more than just monsters. They represented fear, chaos, and the collapse of society itself. Sometimes they were about survival and panic, like 28 Days Later, where the terrifying idea wasn't just the infected themselves, but how quickly the entire world could fall apart. And sometimes zombies were used to tell completely different kinds of stories. Shaun of the Dead turned them into a comedy about relationships, growing up, and finding meaning in a world that was falling apart. Wreck transformed them into a claustrophobic nightmare, where every hallway and every corner felt like a potential threat. The point is, zombies were never interesting just because they were monsters. They were interesting because they could represent something bigger, the fear of losing control, the fear of society collapsing, the fear that the people around you could become the real danger. Every creator could take the same idea and transform it into something completely different. The zombie genre wasn't built around one formula. It was built around experimentation. Then, The Walking Dead changed everything. When The Walking Dead premiered in 2010, it didn't just become another zombie story. It became a cultural phenomenon. But what made the show different was that it understood something important. The zombies were never the main characters. The real story was about the people trying to survive in a world where everything they knew had disappeared. Rick waking up alone in an empty hospital, a group of survivors trying to find safety, communities being built and destroyed, friends becoming enemies. The Walking Dead turned the zombie apocalypse into a long-term human drama, and audiences connected with it because the danger wasn't only coming from the undead, it was coming from the choices people made when society no longer had rules. The show proved that a zombie story could be much bigger than just escaping monsters. It could explore leadership, morality, power, loyalty, and what people are willing to sacrifice to survive. And because of its massive success, it created a new blueprint for zombie stories. Suddenly, the formula was everywhere. A group of survivors, a ruined world, a dangerous new community, and a reminder that humans might be more dangerous than the zombies. The Walking Dead didn't just revive interest in zombies. It changed what the entire genre was expected to be. And slowly that change created a new problem. The zombies became the least important part. At first, zombies were the reason people were afraid. They represented the unknown, a threat that could appear anywhere at any time. But after years of zombie stories following The Walking Dead's formula, something started to change. The zombies slowly stopped being the main threat. They became part of the environment. A group of survivors walking through an abandoned city full of walkers was no longer the shocking moment it once was. The real tension came from something else. Who can you trust? Which group is dangerous? How far will someone go to survive? The focus shifted from surviving the apocalypse to surviving other people. And this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it was one of the reasons The Walking Dead became so successful. The idea that humans could become the real monsters is a powerful one. But when that idea became the center of almost every zombie story, the creatures themselves started losing their purpose. The monsters that once represented the end of the world became almost like background scenery. They were still there, but they were no longer the thing driving the story. And eventually, this created a new challenge for the entire genre. Because when everyone tried to recreate the same success, they didn't always understand what made it work in the first place. So one could say that Hollywood copied the wrong lesson. After The Walking Dead became a massive success, studios naturally wanted to recreate that success. But the problem was, they focused on the easiest parts to copy. They copied the abandoned cities, the groups of survivors, the darker atmosphere, the endless conflicts between communities. But they missed the most important ingredient. The reason people connected with The Walking Dead wasn't just because it had zombies and survival. It was because audiences cared about the characters. They cared about Rick, Daryl, Carol, and the impossible choices they had to make. The world around them mattered because the people inside it mattered. But instead of asking, what made this story special? Many creators asked, how do we make another story that looks like The Walking Dead? And that's where the genre started feeling repetitive, because copying the surface of something successful doesn't recreate the same impact. A destroyed city, a group of survivors, and a zombie apocalypse are not enough to create a memorable story. Without a new idea behind them, they become just another version of something we've already seen. And after years of seeing similar stories repeat the same formula, audiences started feeling like they had already experienced the zombie apocalypse many times before, which led to a new problem: the zombie problem. Too much of the same thing. After years of zombie stories following similar patterns, the problem was no longer the zombies themselves. The problem was that audiences had seen the same story again and again. A world destroyed by an outbreak, a small group trying to survive, a new community that seems safe until someone reveals the real danger. The characters fight, someone makes a sacrifice, and the cycle begins again. The formula that once felt exciting slowly became predictable. And when something becomes predictable, it loses the thing that made it terrifying in the first place. The fear of the unknown disappeared because audiences already knew what to expect. They knew the abandoned streets, they knew the empty buildings. They knew that sooner or later, the biggest threat would probably come from another human. The zombies that once represented the collapse of civilization became almost a familiar part of the background. And this created a strange situation. The genre that once survived by constantly reinventing itself started feeling like it was trapped inside the same story. But the interesting thing is, the problem was never that zombies stopped working. The problem was that too many stories stopped trying to do something new with them. But let's be fair here. The Walking Dead didn't really kill zombies. Because the truth is, blaming one show for an entire genre becoming repetitive would be missing the bigger picture. The Walking Dead didn't ruin zombie stories. It changed them. And for a long time, that change worked. It showed that zombie stories could be more than just horror. They could explore human nature, morality, survival, and what happens when society disappears. The problem was never the original idea. The problem was what happened after. When too many creators focused on copying the formula instead of creating something new, the genre started losing the creativity that made it special in the first place. And when someone finally approached zombies from a different angle, audiences proved they were still interested. Stories like Train to Busan brought back the urgency and emotion of the outbreak. The Last of Us focused on relationships and the consequences of a broken world. These stories worked because they understood the same lesson that made the best zombie stories memorable. The zombies are only the setting. The real story is what humans do when everything they know is taken away. So maybe The Walking Dead didn't destroy the zombie genre. Maybe it simply became so successful that everyone tried to follow the path it created. And sometimes, the biggest influence on a genre can also become the reason that genre needs to evolve. So the question is, who really changed the zombie genre for the worse? Was it The Walking Dead itself, the show that became so successful that it changed what every zombie story was expected to be? Or was the real problem the copycats that followed it? the stories that repeated the formula without understanding what made it work in the first place. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was The Walking Dead the reason zombies became boring? Or did other creators simply copy the wrong lessons from its success? If you enjoyed this kind of deep dive, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Shake the Lore. Because here, we don't just look at the stories we know, we question them. And if you want to rethink the movies and TV shows you thought you understood, more lore deep dives are appearing on your screen right now. So go check them out, and maybe you'll discover something you have missed.